racing against the clock in Chariots of Fire, one of 4 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Sneak Previews. Across the aisle from me, Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And this is Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune. Well, I think Chariots of Fire is one of the year's best films. We come now to a movie named Chariots of Fire, which I've already said I think is one of the year's best films. It's also one of the most intelligent and one of the most emotionally moving films I've seen in a long... In fact, it's a great film. The film takes place in the early 1920s. It's based on the true stories of 2 English Olympic runners. One is the son of Jewish immigrants. The other comes from Protestant missionary stock, and both become runners for different reasons. The Jew wants to triumph over anti-Semitism. Christian wants to run to celebrate the glory of God. They both live in an England where values were very badly shaken up by World War I, but now an England that's trying to reestablish its subtle system of class and racial discrimination. In this scene, the 2 runners meet for the first time in a locker room before their race.
Mr. Abrahams?
Mr. Little.
I'd like to wish you the best of success.
Thank you. And may the best man win.
Get to your marks. Get set. Losing doesn't come easily for Harold Abrahams, and he shares his heartbreak with his girlfriend.
He was ahead. There was nothing you could have done. He won fair and square.
Well, that's that, Abrahams.
Well, if you can't take a beating, perhaps it's for the best.
I don't run to take beatings. I run to win. If I can't win, I won't run.
If you don't run, you can't win. Give me a ring when you've sorted that one out.
I just don't know what to do.
Try growing up.
You can see there that this movie's real subject is not running, but winning, and making a passionate statement with that victory. For both runners, sports competition represents a whole system of moral beliefs. And in this scene, the other runner, Eric Liddell, explains to the Prince of Wales and to the Olympic Committee why he will not run on Sunday.
Make yourself comfortable. Cigar? Oh, no, of course you don't. Nor drink. Such is the resolution of the young man you have before you, gentlemen.
Lord Birkenhead has advised us as to your attitude towards your participation in the 100 meters heats. Or would your non-participation be more accurate?
It would, sir, yes.
We were also consulted as to the correct manner in which to approach the French.
Something we just can't allow to happen. Going cap in hand to the frogs, of all people. Simply out of the question.
Simple matter of national dignity, Little. Being a patriot, I'm sure you understand.
Well, I must say, sir, I felt it was an impractical suggestion from the start.
Well, why didn't you damn well say so, man? As an athlete, you value economy of effort.
I wanted to run. And I was desperate enough to try anything.
Well, all that being understood, we decided to invite you in for a little chat to see if there's any way that we can help resolve the situation.
There's only one way to resolve the situation. That's for this man to change his mind and run.
Don't state the obvious, Cadogan. We've to explore ways in which we can help this young man to reach that decision.
I'm afraid there are no ways, sir. I won't run on the Sabbath, and that's final.
You can really feel the tension there under the surface between those pillars of the establishment and this young man who knows what he believes in. Chariots of Fire is a great sports movie, but it's also a lot more than just a sports movie. It does have a lot of running in it. It does build up to the 1924 Olympics, but it doesn't just build up suspense about who's going to win the big race. It also makes us think about the connections between competition and human nature. And here's what I mean. This movie takes place just at the exact moment in Olympic history when technology and training began to replace determination and willpower. And that's where the movie's conflict lies. The conflict between scientific coaching techniques on the one hand, on the other hand, the simple belief that you can win the race if you just want to win it badly enough. The two runners represent the two sides of that question. Chariots of Fire is enormously exciting at times, very thoughtful at other times. When the film was over, I was very deeply moved, and I want to say it, this is a great film.
And where we differ, because I enjoyed the film too, is that I don't think it's great. I didn't get any time in the film that quality that lifts the film into greatness. I mean, we were just talking about this movie Stevie, and there was a quality in the performance I mentioned of Glenda Jackson I thought was exceptional. I didn't get that same kind of extra special feeling out of this film. I thought it was beautifully made, well acted, competently done as can be. No one would have a bad time while watching it, certainly not that. But I just saw the film moving along with the two parallel stories culminating in the big race, and that's all I went with it.
There is probably nothing I can say that will convince you that you had the kind of experience I had.
Or at least we're being straight about this.
Right. I felt that technically the movie was superb, that the music, the soundtrack, is very important in terms of creating the emotional impact of this film. But there is something that goes on in a few films in my life where I just know that I'm sitting there and I'm transfixed by what's going on the screen. I'm very deeply affected. And it's totally subjective. There's nothing I can argue you out of or into.
I agree. And all I can say is, again, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just not saying it's as great as you did. And we agreed once again on Chariots of Fire, the story of two very different runners on the 1924 British Olympic team. I enjoyed the film, but Roger thinks it's one of the year's finest.
You liked it. I thought it was one of the year's best.